Explosion Network podcast is never late, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they're meant to. Welcome to the Lord of the Rings Extended, a Middle-earth podcast from explosionnetwork.com. Doomed to die, aren't we all? My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me to discuss this week's episode, Ashley Hobley.
Hey John, excited to be here and to think about the constant looming
Death that's on the
death that's could be any moment.
Synopsis for this week's episode, which is titled Doomed to Die, that wasn't a random thing I said, is Eregon's fate is decided. Sorry, not Aragon, Eregon. Anyway, directed by Charlotte Brändström and written by Justin Noble. Ash, what did you make of this week's episode, which was for basically all set in one location?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. Obviously, we knew it was going to be kind of a big battle episode, but there was a lot of human moments, or like human moments, I'll just say. I don't want to get into the race-specific kind of things. We finally get to see Sauron kind of take the mask off, you know, in a way that we haven't seen him do before, like full on exerting his power over flesh and like just killing people, which is pretty brutal. Celebrimbor, you know, finally cracking, and realizing, you know, he's been under this spell. And then we get the devastation of Elrond, just sad because he believed the Durin was going to come. He doesn't come. Very depressing. It's like the end of. I kept thinking it's like the what's the show with David Tennant and Michael Sheen?
Good Omens.
Yeah, it's like the ending of season 2. It's like these two sad boys who should be together forever, because of circumstance.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I think, I mean, obviously this is the last two episodes they want to be really good of the season, but this is a moment that been building to throughout not just this season, but I mean, you could say I've been building towards this moment since we first met Celebrimbor last season, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, it just plays out so well, I think. I really think that trying to find his name, Charles Edwards, who Celebrimbor, and then Charlie Vickers, who Anatar / Sauron, both really, really good in this episode, especially I thought in the two scenes that they got to play off one another. The highlight, I think, in the whole episode is just the slow realization, or how he figures it all out. And I thought that was
mouse.
Really, the freaking mouse. And it really makes me wonder. I haven't looked yet. No, I didn't flick through it or anything. But in the behind the scenes from last week's episode, they showed how they filmed it going from night to day, and it was actually in real time.
I did see like a Twitter video.
Yeah,
I didn't go in depth, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was from like the behind the scenes thing that they show after the episodes on Prime. I'm wondering if this episode had some of the same sort of stuff, especially when he walks out onto the deck, or whatever you want to call it, the outlook there. And it like all comes to reality to him for everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, we're pretty much at the same way. He's dying next episode, I presume. We're sort of at the end of
probably.
Story,
I mean, he did his job, you know.
So, I mean, this was his big episode, and has some really fantastic moments. But yeah, I mean, and then even cuts the old thumb off.
Yeah, who has more will, I think is what he says, right? Before he chops off his own thumb so he can get out of standing. Some medieval handcuffs.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
Didn't have soap back in those days, eh?
Didn't know the dislocate your thumb trick.
sucks. But yeah, I think I really enjoyed all the stuff of him. That thing with the mouse was so cool, though. I thought just like the idea that, especially when Celebrimbor talks about it later, that he was distracted and this was his basically like, I don't know, his inefficiency, the small details he couldn't concentrate into his world.
I mean, I loved all the like little bits of breaking of the illusion, like him seeing his face in the reflection. It's like all dirty and like thin, and then he looks back in a second and his face is back to normal, or the fucking hammer with the ruby missing. But my favorite thing of how he worked it out is like he putting that line on the candle. It's like this candle's been burning for days, and it hasn't gone out at all. So I thought those were all cool little ticks, little things to help him figure it out. Yeah,
and then even the how even once he does realize that, and you're like, okay, well, let's see how this whole plays out now. Just him coming out and freaking the hell out, and
then Sauron was already manipulated everybody.
Yeah, and that does such a good job, I think, of it helps Sauron in the show too, because it shows how good of manipulator
he is. The great deceiver.
Yeah, and he does it well. Just comes out and says, "Nah, Celebrimbor's been on the piss again." Everyone like,
yeah, he's lost his mind. Can't believe a thing he says. It's a real shame.
Can't trust a word that comes.
Need to give him, make sure he gets his pills.
Oh no, he just pushed someone off the ledge.
Can't believe they've been building up that relationship. There's this friendship between him and that female elf.
Well, he even has a scene where he's like, "I'll make sure you're greatly rewarded."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, Sauron's looking for a wifey."
Yeah, a Galadriel replacement. That's what it felt like. And then he gave her a great reward.
Flicker off the ledge.
Flickered off the ledge. She couldn't move. Fucking orc just axe to the chest.
And I guess that, and it was really cool to see him just like calmly take down everyone when they come to arrest him.
Yeah.
At the end there too, just makes them all slice each other open.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool. Just the symmetry of it all is why I appreciate it.
Yeah. What do you think of everything happening with the battle and how that was playing out between the orcs and everything, especially when you introduce obviously they keep teasing out this sort of betrayal, I guess, for his second what's his face's second in command.
For Adar's second in command?
Adar's second in command, sorry, yeah. For Adar's second in command dude, like seems like he was going to turn on him or whatever, and they keep having these teasers of, how that's going to play out. But I mean, by the end of the episode, obviously it looks like they've won. So
yeah,
it's like, what's there to say? But yeah, what did you make of the fight scenes and everything in this?
Yeah, I thought it was all very good. It's like it was all comprehensible. It's like obviously not on the scale of the films, but as good as we could possibly get. A lot of interesting strategies, like obviously the big power move that the orcs make at the start of getting into Eregion is them knocking down the fucking rock mountain cliff and drying up the river. I'm not sure the river would dry up that quickly.
Yeah, that was the only part I was like, it really just dissipates, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think water works like that. But yeah, I think it's interesting, seeing the Adar so committed 100% to his cause, and like him throwing everything at the elves, even at the disregard of his followers and his children in quotation marks. I think one of the things that didn't work necessarily that great is the giant ogre that he introduces towards the end of the episode. We got a glimpse of him like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're making him out the big. He comes in as if he's some big bad that we've been expecting this entire time. But there wasn't really any It didn't feel as satisfying when he gets taken out.
No, I mean, he didn't feel like it was easy, and I thought he looked really good. And I mean, it's obvious they've blown $1 million trillion on this episode, and it looked really good. I think.
Yeah, it looked great, but
But yeah, I thought it was more amusing than threatening. I think
you could have had like a couple more scenes during the season of him, like maybe picking on other orcs and that kind of stuff.
Money, they're like, we want to make sure he looks good when we actually use him.
He's needed. Yeah,
we'll just commit to him coming out. But I mean, I thought it all like it was a bit fun, but definitely not threatening or anything.
No, it's like he was just taken out like a bitch.
Yeah. I think
he takes one hit to the chest and then he's
I think it just sort of helped. The only thing having him come in and all that is it is like a brief moment of fucking like this dude's a.
It did mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and they kept them on the toes and whatever, and you're like, oh, they've really overcome that. There's no way they can lose now. But then it sort of it gives you such a they're winning this and then they're losing it moment.
Yeah.
So I think it's meant to bring you up to take you down sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're watching the battle, they take down the big dudes. It's like, hurrah! Surely they'll retreat now.
Yeah, that was their best shot.
Losing. Yeah,
oh no, they just gathered all their forces together.
And then obviously, right at the very end there, what did you make of Elrond? Just his utter defeat,
just going to pieces. Yeah. He's just a sad boy, wanting his little best friend to come and help him out. And he deserted him for no apparent reason. He didn't even send a message like, hey, listen, my dad's gone mental and is killing everybody inside the mountain. Sorry, I can't make it. Next time. You got this,
Just muttering at the end where it's just like...
Just Durin's coming.
Durin could be here. Durin will be here. Durin will come. He's it's almost like he's in proper shock.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it all plays out, but obviously we know Elrond doesn't die and all these sorts of things, but I don't know who comes to how they get out of that, to be honest.
I think they're not the target. Elrond is not the target of their mission. So Adar's focus now turns to Sauron.
Yeah, but do you reckon he's just going to kill? He's not going to let him live. That doesn't make any sense.
No, he just doesn't care.
He's going to let the King of the Elves, Elrond, all these people live.
Maybe
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's just it doesn't. He's not going to let them live. He's just focused on something else.
What? Do you reckon they capture what?
Or because the ring is meant for elves, he's going to wear the ring and is just going to kill him straight away.
That'd be funny. That'd be actually quite funny. But it is that thing of I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see how this plays out, but fully aware that I'm not actually scared for the character's life. But that's what I mean when you're like, I don't when characters have plot armor and stuff. It's not that I'm turning that part of my brain off. I'm just yeah.
I don't know if it's plot armor.
Tell me an interesting story.
It's not plot armor. It's
just
canon armor.
Canon armor, yeah. Next week though, not next. Yeah, next week. Fuck time. All right, over with the dwarves.
Yeah,
little bit. That's why I said most of this episode took place in one location.
Yeah,
we flicked over to the dwarves a couple times throughout all this. They obviously was initially called for help. You have a really good scene where they call to battle, I guess, if you want to.
Where Durin thinks he's going to have to fight a bunch of dwarves, and they're like, nah, your dad's crazy.
Yeah.
With you.
Durin's like, come fight. We're going to do this. And, even that scene where the other dwarves come down and they're you think they're going to battle him or whatever. And they're like, nah, we're actually on your side. And, all of that was cool. We're getting the Balrog next week, though. I
would assume so. I assume, Durin's greed gets the better of him. The Balrog pops up and everybody has to evacuate.
Yeah. That's the season finale, I guess. The show will just have a thing where
Because they
each season
didn't burn enough money this week.
Yeah.
Let's get one of the most CGI heavy creatures we possibly can.
Yeah. I wonder how I reckon that's surely just like the season ending sort of. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the season ending thing's like, I am Gandalf.
Well, I mean, there's multiple threads that are still to be addressed and touched on in next week, we would assume. So,
there's a lot for one episode, really. It's like we gotta wrap up whatever's going on here somewhat.
we're
gonna have the Balrog show up. We gotta go back over.
Yeah, we assume we're gonna have the Balrog.
We know. Well, it's been in the trailer, right? The Balrog showing up, right?
They could decide to cut it last minute.
No, I don't think that's a thing. I'm telling you right now, the Balrog shows up next week.
Plenty of things to show in trailers that aren't in the thing, you know.
All right, you want to bet on it?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Got to back over to the Harfoots and Gandalf and Tom
and
Bombadil.
Bombadil. Yep. Probably need to check in what's happened over in Numenor.
Yeah, and then we go check over what's happening, which I don't really know. Like, what is the Numenorian plot at this point? Like, what are we?
Like, who's in charge?
What are we doing there? Like, again, I'm assuming that like some of these people are getting rings, the humans,
you assume
whatever
so,
else, but like,
well,
I'm
we know that Numenor is going to fall. So I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, does that just happen? That's too much for next week, but
yeah,
that has to happen next season.
Maybe.
So we're sort of surely we head into the precipice of Numenor falling, which, to be honest, I'm okay to move away from Numenor. And wouldn't I think as this season heads towards an end now, at this point, I'm sort of like I could use a few less, or at least one less
locations or storylines.
Place, I think. Yeah, I think one less would be good. When What's His Face showed up in this episode, the other elf thing, I was like, oh, thank you, Arondir. When he showed up, I was like, oh, good, because him being brought into the fold of that storyline is just one less thing to have to, cut away.
Do you think he's dead?
Oh yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I know. I think he's such a big character. I'd be kind of surprised because this show hasn't been doing the killing a bunch of people off, but also you need to start killing some people off somewhere. So, I mean, he's one of the characters who don't have canon armor. So,
I'm gonna hold on. Just thinking back. All right, I'm gonna say he is not dead, only because he was killed off screen.
He did take.
He gets stabbed. He walks off. Yeah, but did you see it? Did you see the dagger?
No. And also, in my mind, the most fitting thing would be he kills Adar, and that stops him from killing Sauron. You know.
I mean, he is a character who could die, as the only original character. Like
yes, but also optically, how bad is it that the colored elf is the only one who dies?
Yeah, that would be terrible. But I'm going to say he doesn't die. It's just again, you see the cameras on their face. You see the but like that's it, right? That's TV. Yeah, that is. I'm going to say storytelling 101 tells me he's alive. Really. And then Galadriel in this episode. I mean, when her and Elrond were kissing, I was like, "This is." There was one moment where I nearly turned into one of these like absolute, YouTube outrageous people. This is not canon. Elrond and Galadriel. But then I was like, it was a ruse.
No, in my mind, I'm like, man, slipping into the ring. That's what I thought was happening. Yeah. Slipping that ring in with a kiss, you know.
If you like it, you should have put a ring on it. And he was like, oh. Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, her scene with Celebrimbor was really powerful as well. I thought, you know.
Yeah, so I was about to say, because she only really has that one scene with Elrond, and then like a lot of sneaking around, which is whatever. And then her scene with with Arondir.
Arendelle.
It's like not a lot, but then right at the end, her scene with Celebrimbor was really good shit, I thought. Especially in a world where she's been like, obviously she's copped a lot of blame, and also sort of just being like, you idiot, how could you have not seen it was Sauron, you absolute idiot. Like,
I told you, literally. It was
like all this sort of stuff. So I think for her to connect to him and, just be like, we were both fooled, and I thought that was a good moment for both of them. And all amongst that, Celebrimbor got his really somewhat a little bit on the nose, but I didn't mind it. Light will always prevail.
Yeah.
I was like, this is corny, but I can live with it.
It's corny, but it's also fitting for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, very corny.
Which is a much more
very fitting for Lord of the Rings. Yes.
Which isn't as realistic. It's high fantasy. So.
Yeah. Anything else for this week's episode?
Do you really think that was Sauron put his blood inside the rings? It's funny because last week we were like, where the hell did he get all this mithril from? It never occurred to us it was fucking part of the illusion.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, I guess that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know if that's like they've just like completely changed the law, or if that's something that's apply. I don't know. Because the other thing is like I just don't care to ever look up what is or isn't canon, because people just like the people who hate this show not being fully canon or whatever that, like they really hate it. So I'm just like, what do I care at this stage? Like,
yeah. Why would you possibly give yourself a reason to be upset about it?
Yeah, I'm keen for next week. See how it all plays out. I mean, I tell you what, the other thing I really like in a world where a lot of shows I watch, if they're any form of like fan base hates it, or it's a bit too woke, the fear of it getting cancelled because of such things. I always appreciate that there was a stage who was like halfway through the season where Amazon was like, "Yep, season 3's coming. Don't worry." I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
We've already invested too much money into this. We might as well just keep going.
Well, I think smartly when they made the deal, I was trying to look it up. Apparently, they made them sign 3 seasons from that get-go. I don't know if there's any way they could have broke that or what the deal was, but so apparently they want to do 5 seasons, and they made them like agree to at least 3. So, but it's good to know that I'm enjoying this show, and I'll get more of it, rather than I'm enjoying this show, looking forward to it getting cancelled.
Well, this season you can. Next season it's like, ugh.
That'll be the test. But I mean, at that stage, surely it would be like, all right, maybe cut the budget a little bit, and but I don't know, like. As far as I'm aware, it actually does. Like, it is that thing of like a lot of, like, people complain about it, but it's just that, it's that thing where we're like, are we just online too much? Like, do people in the real world care?
I feel like people care. People then go seek out stuff like this to go listen to afterwards, I don't know. I don't know if we want to go behind the curtain too much, but this is kind of the most successful podcast we've done so far.
Is it?
Numbers wise, yes.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. This may sound also really bad. I just don't look.
I mean, maybe the Studio Gilby podcast that's when it first was coming out. But
yeah.
During after show, during the show, most successful at the moment. So,
well, people enjoyed it. That's good because I mean, I guess it is that thing of like, I'm sure there's a lot of shows that are just like hardcore, like thing, but we're just on here just being normal. What's that person's name again? Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. Good stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, not over here trying to be like, well, according to the Celebrimbor.
According to notes in Tolkien's behind Tolkien's bed.
Yes, Tolkien once wrote on a toilet roll. Do not change the law. All right, cool. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Lord of the Rings Extended Rings of Power podcast. Of course, we'll be back next week to discuss the season finale, and it's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. And then, we'll wrap it up there. But of course, all other great things and podcasts, if you're enjoying this, which apparently, according to Act people are, explosionnetwork.com. Check it out. Find other shows there. That would be great. Thank you so much.
They could just be accidentally downloading the episode because of the title, but
don't care. Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye.